Well, hey, peace out, living environment fans. It's Wednesday, and you may notice that I'm not here today. That's because I'm having a new tooth put in. I'm getting a dental crown. Doesn't that sound like fun? That's what I'm doing right now as you're doing this Bellringer. I'm getting my tooth replaced. Yeah, one of my molars, I broke it about a month ago eating an almond. Almond just was like a wedge and cracked that tooth. So I had about half a tooth. And then that was about a month ago. And then about 3 weeks ago, I went to the dentist and they basically took a drill and went and shaved my whole tooth down to just a little stub. Right? Today, they're putting a crown on top of that stub. They're going to basically replace my tooth. So I'll have a brand new tooth that matches the old tooth that I used to have. It's made out of hopefully something that won't break this time. Yeah, crown. Luckily, I didn't need a root canal. They were able to use the little nub of my tooth to stick the new one on. Sometimes people, they have to drill out the old tooth and then put a post in there and then put the crown right on top of that. Luckily, I didn't need that. What I did need was $1,200 because that's how much his tooth costs. We don't have dental insurance, so it's all out of pocket. $1,200, $1,200. What would you do if you had that much cash on hand? All right, you tell me that, and then we'll do the bell ring. All right. Hey now. Mr. Kovacs class. It's Mr. Kovacs class. You might learn a ton. It's Mr. Kovacs class.
He's interesting too.
It's Mr. Kovacs class.
And he's super cool.
It's Mr. Kovacs class. Mitosis is our old friend, right? Yeah. Copy once, split once, you wind up with two cells that are identical to the original parent cell. Right? We call them daughter cells, and they're identical. It goes through all those phases: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and you wind up with two identical cells. This is a way to reproduce cells asexually, that is, basically make copies, right? To reproduce cells sexually, you've got to mix. Sexually, reproduction implies mixing up genes. You've got to make special cells. And that's where meiosis comes into play. Meiosis is like mitosis, except for it's copy once, split once, then split right away again. So it's copy once, split twice, and you wind up, instead of two daughter cells, you wind up with four gametes. We call them gametes. And because of two things, one thing we call chromosome crossing over, or recombinant chromatin crossing over during prophase 1. And then, of course, the splitting and then uneven splitting, you wind up with four gametes that are not identical to the original cell. They are haploid. These are diploid. Haploid, that means they have half the genetic material, and then they can be used to be combined to make new organisms, right? And then the new organism will have a totally different gene makeup than either of its parents because of meiosis, right? So if you're XY, you do meiosis, you make sperm cells. If you're XX, you do meiosis and you make egg cells, right? If a sperm cell meets an egg cell and then fertilizes, you get a full set, right? Each of those had full set of chromosomes. You now have a zygote that can grow up to be an embryo and then a fetus, and then finally, hopefully, happy birthday. Right? A couple differences that you probably know already and are more health class things, but like males make sperm cells all the time, pretty much from what we call puberty, the day they start making them, which can be as young as like 11 or 12 years old, and they'll make them until their death day. You could live to be 99. If you are XY, you'll be making sperm cells in your testes until your last breath. XXs, in our species anyway, again, start to make them during puberty, which can be as early as 10 years old, sometimes right around 11, 12, 13 years old, somewhere in there. And once they start making eggs, they'll only make one egg a month, one egg every 28 days or so. And they'll only make it until they run out of eggs, which will be about 500 eggs. So by the time they get to their 50s, they reach what we call menopause. They're out of eggs, right? So they're not reproductively viable, all right? Unlike a lot of other animals, we'll talk about later, but, right? Humans are in estrus, human women are in estrus, that is, they can get pregnant about once a month for about a period of 7 to 14 days. Right? There are other species like deer that go into the rut. That means the deer can only go get pregnant 1 month out of the year for a period of a couple weeks. Right? So it's different in different species. We're going to talk more about that when we talk about evolution. Anyway, let's be a good little grown-up zygote and do today's activity. Oh wait, that reminds me. Today in class we have book talk. Of course, you knew that. And then if you have lab, you're going to finish the karyotype lab, and I have an extra credit video about sponges for you to watch if you want to get some extra credit.